Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 23rd episode of the Grit Talk Show. As we've entered the last month of the year, I'm sure you're all looking forward to New Year's. And before we start the new year, we have some great news. Our platform is going to go live. So if you're a coach and you want to join in, please feel free to have a look at www.gridcoaches.com and explore for yourself how you can benefit, create your own profiles, have your clients leave you reviews, and see client analytics as well. So in our series, coming back to the moment, we cover the journey of different coaches, and we have the lovely Adriana joining us early morning from UK today. Adriana certifies people in DISC, and she's an ACC coach as well. And she has lots on her portfolio that she will be sharing with us. Thank you, Adriana, for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invite for this morning, Kat, and welcome everyone to this wonderful conversation on this lovely morning. Hello from wherever you join it in.
Yes, thank you for being here, Adriana. So we're all excited to learn more about DISC, and as we've collaborated to offer it jointly as well. So I think our audience is very anxious to know about those who do not know what DISC really stands for. And some have the idea that it's a psychometric tool. So as a psychometric tool, how does it differ from other more popular tools like MBTI, which a lot of people are, I think, more familiar with sometimes because of the personality types and all. And then Hogan as well. So how is it different and what does it stand for?
Okay, it's a really good question because there's so many amazing psychometric tools there in the market, and they've been used for different purpose. And psychometric methods are used by coaches, are used by consultants, are used by psychologists, and all the psychometrics have different purpose, and therefore they're being used for different people and different times. And I think all of them are absolutely great because they can be applied for specific reason, for specific individual, to bring the best in them. They might be looking into strengths, they might be looking into more complex issues. But what DISC is different from all of them, that is really dynamic. DISC is much more about person's behavior, about how they react to the situations. And in life, our behavior comes as a part of our character, and the behavior is basically a representation of our emotions and how we react to things, and therefore behave in a certain way. So the behavior is shaped by our experiences. It's shaped by the environment. It's based on the relationships we have with people, and that's what DISC is about. That's what it measures. So it's not a really static profile of someone. It's really different. It brings up the whole person, the emotions, the reactions, and so on. And what the DISC
it's very customized.
It really is. Yes. And it looks at the person as the whole. It looks at ourselves as we are. It also measures how we react to the challenges in our lives, how we behave, let's say, in work, how we and why we behave in a certain way in a more social aspect of the relationship. So it brings a lot. It also looks at how we react to a stress. So if someone is a leader of the team, it will be really good for them to know how the person in the team, they can react to added pressure at work and what happens, or when they notice that, oh, this person is not behaving as I would expect, or as I know as they are. They might learn from the DISC profile where those red flags comes up. What is happening with this person? Where is the challenge that needs to be addressed in course to help the person and an employee to perform and be really happy in a work environment. So this is extremely helpful.
Yes. So Adriana, what I'm picking is that it can be used as a tool in helping a common person, for instance, develop emotional intelligence or increase emotional intelligence? Is that correct?
Absolutely, it can, because it raises your radar on the people.
Mm,
First of all, it helps person to understand themselves and their responses. And I've
mm,
seen many clients, and I've seen in my teams, there is this aha moment, like, oh, that's what it is. This is what I'm doing. Yes, this is so right.
ah,
And it helps people to navigate their own emotions. It helps them to navigate their own behavior, and therefore the communication style they have.
mm,
They might be understanding their partners better. It helped definitely in my relationship as well, in understanding my partner much on a much
mm,
deeper level. And we have those conversations
mm,
very often when he gives me examples from his environment, and then we discuss it
mm,
of what happened then, and then it makes him to understand why someone reacts in the way they do, because
mm,
they might have completely different style from him, and it's really, really
mm.
interesting.
Yes. So DISC, what does the
Yes,
acronym stand for?
I know, and everyone keeps thinking, oh, what is it? It's just a label of of
Mm,
saying who's who, or
mm,
just giving that kind of badge to the person, the IAC, and it's not. This basically stands for, it's an acronym for dominant,
mm,
influential, steady, and compliant, in a brief. So
mm,
it gives that characteristic, the main
mm,
characteristic of each of the profiles, and um, the intensities and the aspects,
mm.
the DISC method measures, the behavioral model measures. And I'll be telling more about it in the certifications around with you. So it's really interesting
Yes,
to bring up and understand
yes,
what it is. So it doesn't
yes,
mean that someone is just dominant. It might just be influential, or only steady, or just compliant. It's not just that, it's
yes,
much more to it.
yes.
It's just a main characteristic of the person,
Mm. Ah, all
the
right.
more
So these,
intense
yes.
characteristic.
Ah, all right. So it's basically divided into the different characteristics that may be more prevalent in a person,
Yes, it
right?
is. You are
Yes.
absolutely right. You're absolutely spot on that. And this also looks as a behavioral models, in the ways that we react to things and where are our priorities. So it might be our
Mm,
internal motto of the
of
reaction and
course.
how quickly we react to the situations,
Yeah.
but it will also look in where we prioritize our relationship, when we prioritize our
Yes.
behavior, what is
Yes. So
important
why
to
we
us,
do
what
what
we
we do?
exactly,
Yes.
where is
So
our focus, and how we want
uh,
to approach things in our life.
yeah, so it's a metric to measure why we do what we do and how we are responding the way we are. So that sounds wonderful. And so, Adriana, if because it is one of the tools that coaches do use in their practice as well.
Yes.
So, how do you feel it can sort of improve, um, or give more value to a coachee?
Yes, absolutely. It's a fantastic question, and I'm absolutely glad that you've asked that, because all the coaches, they have this amazing ability of deep
Mhm.
listening and giving the feedback, and this is extremely important in our role. This is what is most important in coaching, and what this helps coach with is to listen even deeper. It's to understand coaching communication style. So people might be using the language in a certain way, as we already know as a coaches. We can identify the values, we can identify different aspects of someone's personality, and they prefer behavior in some sort. But what the disc does, it teaches us a little bit more on how people react to the situation and what is actually happening. And it might help us to ask the questions in much more tailored way. Some people might also prefer have the conversation on higher pace than the others. Some might be focused on the certain ways of doing the things, and it's important for the coach to understand how to connect this person on that level. Yes, as coaches, we can use clients' language, we can feed that back, we can use all that, but understanding that someone's priority might be set, let's say, more on people, it's very important, and it changed the whole dynamic of the conversation, and therefore someone's discovery and someone's further process, and to help them to put their plan of action into motion and be actually relevant, and then it increases person's engagement and increases person's motivation and willingness of doing so, and brings that spark in the person that we're always looking for. So they really want to go and change something in their life. It gives something more.
Yes. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather, so I keep on muting myself.
I hope you're okay.
Yes, that's why I have my tea on hand. So, Adriana, what would you say is a complementary tool to DISC? Another tool that coaches can use to make make greater impact. So, a complementary tool.
Well, all the coaching tools can be complementary to each other. I would always mention emotional intelligence, because it goes hand in hand with coaching, and this increases that, and it can be pushed a little bit later. Positive intelligence is always really good and brings a little bit more in the person. But what I would really think of is the NLP, and NLP is quite interesting on being able to ask really inquisitive questions, and it also looks at people's behavior as well, and how people modulate their voice, how they use their emotion, and how to find that emotions, and that is very important. This is really interesting, and I use that skill as well. It just really helps me, and I use the blend of all three: coaching, NLP, and DISC in my practice, and I found it really liberating as a coach, just to have that tools. It doesn't give any pressure to me to have as many different tools in my portfolio, but it just gives me that variety of use of the tools that are quite there, and they're really available to coaches. So I think it would be really complementary to have these. But it's for all the coaches, it's not necessary to have, but it's really good to have the awareness.
Yes. So as Adriana said, NLP and emotional intelligence, and we're both offering both the certifications from 2023 on Great, so stay tuned. Adriana, also share with us, like, you work with corporations and different organizations. What do you see as a trend? Like, which companies seek out more, this, whether they should be qualifying their own in-house resources on DISC so that they can use it? Which is there a particular like field that you've noticed? Maybe the energy industry, maybe the government sector, the public sector. Well, where do you see the trend where there's been a demand for this certificate?
It's quite difficult to answer for one person, because there is so many companies and so many different industries, and I think it's across all of the industries. It really depends on how the company is run and about the values of the company. So when the organization or big corporation is focused on the employees, he understands their value, this is where you have the winner. This is where that change will happen. And I've worked with and I've provided that information in some of the training to energy companies, renewable energy companies. I've worked with companies related more to health and pharma related, and I've worked with the smaller organizations as well. Individual
so it's
clients.
about the values and whether they're people centric or not.
Absolutely, yes. When someone understands and gets to the bottom of the organization that the results are created by people, this is where the change happens. And many companies now seek for that changes. They understand people's value. They look into much more diverse workforce, and to provide the safe spaces for people to work, to be able to talk. And I'm still involved with one of the organizations in some different way, but it is really important for them to listen to their people and allowing different conversations and opening different rooms and tables for people to bring their own ideas, to open to hear people, what they really want to change, what they really want to listen, what would help them to feel valued in an organization. And this is extremely important.
Yes. So that actually brings us to this whole thing about organizations who are focused on people and who aren't. So what do you feel? It's a little off topic, but just to something which people might be interested to know, like as in how do you think it makes a difference having in-house coaches versus ongoing trainings? But then I think companies do tend to lax when they're just inviting people to come and deliver. Either they should they have in-house, or maybe totally outsources on a consistent basis as opposed to episodic or intermittent trainings. What's your take on that?
I think companies still prefer to bring someone in, someone external, rather than having an in-house coach very often. And what it does, it offers the company to bring someone that is completely impartial and work from that way. They like to work, I think, with people with the companies that have some sort of a credential they know. It gives the reassurance that any money that is invested in that sort of
credential, of course.
Yes, that sort of a intervention or help, it really gives the value back to let's say in someone's performance. And this is quite a big trend, I think. And it removes certain aspects for the companies, such as employment costs and so on, and bring someone when it's actually needed. And what that also gives to an employee is a really safe space. They can open up to someone they don't really know. It's much easier, actually. And as coaches, we know that. And it's rather than to speak to a colleague. And because that might rub many people in the wrong way. So
that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point, Adriana. That the unbiased view, because when we're consistently working with the same people day in and day out, and we have to face them every day, so there will be some parts where we will become inhibited, or maybe not share the things we might share, just like we do. Sometimes we just seek out total strangers and we might open up to them as opposed to friends and family. So I think that's what applies to organizations as well. So that was an excellent point. I think we've always missed that in our organizations.
Yeah, it's true. And some organizations, they do need someone in-house, but it really depends on the individual need of the organization, what they really want to achieve.
The perks from working from home.
Oh, of course.
Yes. So yes. So Adriana, when it comes to DISC, and what do you think that it's a behavior? It's more focused on behavior, and we as humans, I think sometimes we're not tuned with ourselves either, right? So how would you say, on a day-to-day basis, if I have no background in coaching, I'm not working in an organization, how can I help the common person if they were to get certified in DISC? From that perspective,
it helps on so many levels. And what it helps, it helps you to get in tune with yourself, helps you to understand your own behavior. But that understanding brings to the surface your strengths, and that help any person to prepare for the let's say for the best career for them, to understand for perhaps younger person that is still within the education or a slightly higher education, to choose the course of their career for the future. And that is quite liberating to know where you're actually going, what it shapes in the way it does your future. And also it helps on having really good relationships with people, with your families. Now we're approaching the festive season, and we're approaching Christmas season, and Christmas now is for everyone, and then it brings families together. And when we sit at the Christmas table, we can observe all the different behaviors. And when I think about it, it really brings a smile to my face, because then it makes me to remember how everyone behaves at the table. So some people will be more attentive, some people will be really talkative, and this and that, and sometimes it might create a lot of frictions at the table, and it happens probably in every family whenever you celebrate any bigger occasion. And having that understanding of why the person behaves in a certain way really helps in the relationship we have them, because you might have this really annoying auntie, but when you understand what you think it makes her annoying, is quite liberating. You just suddenly understand, what does she really mean, what does she really want, what does she need? And when you apply that knowledge to engage with her, it changes everything. So definitely for someone who is not coached, someone who is not working in such an environment, or let's say as a consultant or a trainer, it's really important to have that knowledge to enhance the relationships you have with people.
Yes. So thank you so much, Adriana. That was really insightful. So I think that has motivated me to take the certification for sure. And I'm sure it has sparked the interest of many. If those of you who are watching, if you have any questions or any comments, please leave them in the comment box. And Adriana and I will get back to you. On this note, have a lovely weekend. Thank you so much, Adriana, for being
Thank you.
here, and wishing you a lovely weekend as well.
Thank you, likewise. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.